Welcome to A Mason's Work, the podcast where we review Masonic symbols and illustrate how they can be used to solve problems in everyday life. With your host, Brian Mattox, a proud member of the Craftsman Online Media Network.
So yesterday we talked about the physiological senses, the body senses, and I'm not trying to make a meaningful distinction because I'm not sure there is one between the emotional experience or the cognitive experience and the physiological one. You know, what your body's feeling and what your emotional states are and what your mind states, they're easy to talk about as separate things, but they're not. And so I'm very clear here that anything that you're going to have experiencing is going to be deeply enmeshed and interconnected. And that's kind of the way it works by design, if you will. And so that said, the same process that you went through perhaps yesterday, hopefully, do that kind of body scan where you were figuring out what was actually emerging out of your sense data. You can do the same thing out of your emotional content. And out of your mental content. And so each of these domains provides rich and nuanced sort of information for you to act upon. The emotional content is where I want to spend a little bit of time today because emotions are pretty slippery. And when I say they're slippery, what I mean to say is very much like trying to grab a cloud. Your emotions tend to change the moment you put your finger on what they are. Emotions are very sort of transitory, right? It's like the weather. Emotions change like the weather. And so when you get a better sense for the emotions that you're experiencing, the moment you kind of seem to have your handle on it or an understanding of what it is, it tends to shift and change. There's good news, though, that they tend to shift and change in a sort of pattern. And that's something that you're going to discover in your own experience over time. I can't tell you what your pattern is. I can tell you what mine is, but that's only of marginal utility, I suppose. So when you look at what you're experiencing, though, those emotions, understand that they have kind of an order of magnitude, right? So each emotion you have is going to be perhaps have a certain strength. Okay, the strongest emotions, like sadness or shame or anger or love or joy or elation, don't have a ton of, let's say, nuance to them. They're big, blunt force objects. You can't have that emotional volume run through a feeling that has subtlety to it, like bittersweet, right? Bittersweet is this, for those of you who are unfamiliar with it, it's like a half sad, half happy melancholy that comes up for me when I'm feeling sentimental. So I get this kind of bittersweet sense of how wonderful things were and how much I miss them and how much, that's not happening right now. That emotional response, though, that nuance, again, isn't one of the stronger emotions. And what will happen with strong emotions is strong emotions will inform your physiology. So when you are angry, most people, when they are angry, will get one of two physiological responses. They'll get energy in their hands. They'll get kind of a good, almost like a positive itchy feeling almost in their hands or in their legs. And that is basically the origin of the fight or flight response. This is the organism's under threat in some capacity. I need to either run really fast or I need to start throwing hands. And so that fight or flight turns into that physical experience. Strong emotions like anger tend to do that. Other emotions that are strong, like joy and elation, don't put energy into the limbs, as it were. They put energy elsewhere, into the mind, to better record the process of what's happening, into the heart in an opening and embracing kind of empathetic kind of way. The way these strong emotions feel physiologically again, varies from person to person. So don't take what I'm telling you as exact gospel for the organism that you're kind of currently running. But when it comes to your experience, starting to reach into these emotions and understand the physiological correlates and how this informs my bodily experience and how this informs the way my thoughts operate is a really important sort of next step to help you get a better control of, again, the process data that you're working with. The other thing that's really important to understand is just like the weather, the emotions you're experiencing are a product of the kind of life that you have set up till now. Everything you've built, everything you've done in the past has led you to these emotions arising. And that's okay. If you want to change the overall weather patterns of your environment, the emotional weather patterns of your day-to-day experience, if you want to increase joy, for example, or increase serenity or any of those kind of emotional responses, you need to change the environmental conditions and allow those things to emerge. And that means obviously cognitive work. It probably means some physiological work. It probably means, spending time with your thoughts and going, to the gym or whatever. When you take these pieces and you start to put them together, no data is bad data, right? You may be having a horrible emotional response in any given moment, but it's just data. And you're going to use it to cultivate a process that creates better environmental potentials for future emotions to emerge. We'll get into more of this stuff in the weeds as we go, but that's it. Have a great week.
The views represented in this podcast are those of the speaker alone and are not representative of any grand or subordinate lodge.
Hi, Brian here. I wanted to thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you have any suggestions or guidance for further episodes you'd like to see or hear, whatever the case may be, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at masonswork.com. and we will try and incorporate your suggestions into a future recording. Thanks.
Freemasonry teaches us that the true work is within, a lifelong journey of reflection, discipline, and discovery. At A Mason's Work, we help Masons bring out their best selves through meaningful self-inquiry and symbolic practice. From personal reflection to lodge engagement, we offer tools that turn symbols into action. Visit us at amasonswork.com. The work is within. The time is now.